Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we're here to talk about something that can really help you get better in English: routines. Learning English every day can be easy and fun if you make it a part of your daily life.
Exactly. Hi, everyone. You know, learning English doesn't have to be something you do only in a classroom or with a textbook. It can actually fit into your everyday life. Small changes to your routine can make a big difference. So today, we're going to share some simple daily routines to help you practice and learn English naturally.
Let's start with mornings. The start of your day is a perfect time to add a little English practice. Even just 10 to 15 minutes in the morning can make a difference. For example, you can start your day by listening to a short podcast in English. There are many great podcasts out there that focus on basic topics. You could pick a topic you like, such as travel, food, or news.
That's a great idea, Emma, and here's another tip. Try saying a few words out loud every morning. Think about a word you learned recently and practice using it. Say it in a sentence or even to sentences. For example, if you learned the word improve, you could say, "I want to improve my English. Today, I will practice a little more to improve my skills."
Right, speaking out loud, even if it's just to yourself, is very helpful. Also, mornings are a good time for reading a little English. You don't need to read something difficult. Maybe you can read a few short articles, like news stories, or even follow a simple blog in English. Just a few paragraphs can introduce you to new words and ideas in English.
Yes, and don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Try to guess the meaning from the rest of the sentence. If you don't know a word, write it down and you can check it later. But the goal here is to get used to seeing English words and sentences.
Exactly, Max. And here's another routine to try in the morning: keeping a small English journal. Write down a few sentences about how you feel or what you want to do that day. It could be as simple as, "Today, I feel happy," or "I plan to study English for 10 minutes. This doesn't take much time, but it's a great way to start thinking in English.
I love that. Writing in a journal every day, even just a few sentences, can help you get comfortable with using English on your own. And it's okay to make mistakes. The important thing is just to practice and get your thoughts on paper.
Exactly. Okay, now let's talk about routines you can do in the afternoon or during a break in your day. You might have a lunch break or a little free time. This can be a great moment to add some quick English practice, like using a language app.
Yes, language apps are very useful for short breaks. You could spend 5 or 10 minutes practicing vocabulary or doing a quick exercise. Many apps even let you learn with games or quizzes, so it doesn't feel like studying. It can feel like a little game.
Absolutely. And if you're a bit tired during the day, you can try a simple listening exercise, like watching a video or listening to music in English. Find something interesting or fun, maybe a song you like or a YouTube video on a topic you enjoy. This way, it doesn't feel like studying, but you're still exposing yourself to English.
Yes, that's a great point. And if you're watching a video, try to pay attention to how the words are pronounced. You can even repeat the words after the speaker to practice your own pronunciation.
That's a really good habit, Max. Speaking of habits, here's another routine: practicing vocabulary every day. For example, if you learn a new word today, try to use it in different ways throughout the day. You can say it out loud or write a few sentences with it. The more you use a new word, the easier it will be to remember.
That's true, and if you're working or studying, try putting new English words around you. Write them on sticky notes and put them on your desk or around your room. This way, you'll see them every day and it'll help you remember them better.
Yes, seeing new words every day can really help. And if you can, try to use these words in a real conversation. Even if it's with a friend who is also learning English, practicing together can be very helpful.
Definitely, practicing with someone else can make it easier and more fun. And don't forget, it's okay if you make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning, and every mistake helps you understand English better.
Exactly, Max. And that brings us to another point. Don't worry about understanding everything perfectly. The goal is to make English a part of your daily routine, so it becomes more natural. Even if you only understand a few words from a song or a video, that's okay. Just enjoy the process.
All right, let's keep going. Now that we've talked about mornings and small routines for the day, let's dive into some routines you can do in the evening. Evenings can be a great time to focus on learning because things are usually a bit quieter and you might have more free time. So, let's talk about some helpful ways to practice English at night.
Good idea, Max. Evenings are perfect for longer practices, like watching a movie or reading something interesting in English. Let's say you like watching movies or TV shows. Why not watch them in English? Start with shows that have simple language and turn on subtitles if you need them.
Absolutely, and even if you don't understand everything at first, that's okay. Just focus on getting the general idea, and a good trick is to watch something you've already seen in your own language. That way, you already know the story, and you can just pay attention to the words and how they're used.
Exactly, Max. Watching something familiar really helps. And after watching, you can even try talking about it. You could talk to yourself or write down a few sentences about the show or movie. For example, you can write, "Tonight, I watched a movie about adventure. It was exciting, and I learned new words like explore and journey."
Yes, writing about what you watched can be a great way to remember new words. And speaking of writing, evenings are also a great time for journaling in English. Earlier, we talked about writing a few sentences in the morning, but at night, you could try writing a bit more. Think about your day, what you did, or something you learned, and write it down in English.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write what you can. If you went to the park, you could write something simple like, "Today, I went to the park. The weather was nice, and I saw many people." This way, you're practicing vocabulary related to everyday activities, which is so helpful.
Right, and another fun idea for the evening is reading a book in English. Now, I know that might sound challenging, but there are many books written for beginners. You could start with simple stories or children's books. Even if they're easy, they'll still help you learn new words and sentence patterns.
That's true, Max. And reading a few pages every night is a good way to make English part of your evening. Plus, if you read something every night, you'll get used to seeing how sentences are structured in English, which helps a lot with understanding grammar.
Yes, and another fun way to learn is by listening to English music. Try listening to songs in English and looking up the lyrics. You can sing along or even just read the lyrics to understand what the song is saying. Music is a great way to learn new words and phrases, and it makes learning fun.
Oh, that's a great tip. Songs are an amazing way to learn natural, everyday English. And the best part is, you can repeat the song and sing along as much as you want. It's almost like practicing speaking, but with music.
Exactly, and while we're talking about music, let's not forget podcasts or audiobooks. There are so many podcasts for English learners that cover all kinds of topics. Whether you like sports, cooking, or travel, you can find something in English. Listening to English before you go to bed can be a relaxing way to end the day, and it's perfect for improving listening skills.
Right, Max, and listening to English before bed is great because it helps you get used to the sounds of English. Even if you're not actively studying, just hearing the language regularly will make it feel more natural to you.
Yes, and if you're listening to something interesting, you can even write down one or two new words you hear. Keeping a little notebook by your bed just for new English words can be very helpful. You don't need to write too much, just a word or two that you want to remember.
I love that idea, Max. And speaking of a notebook, another good routine is reviewing your notebook or notes every night. If you learned new words during the day, take a few minutes in the evening to go over them. This helps you remember the words better and makes it easier to use them in the future.
Absolutely. Reviewing before bed is very helpful. And it doesn't take long, just 5 or 10 minutes of going over what you learned that day can really make a difference. Plus, reviewing can help you feel more confident because you're actually seeing the progress you're making.
Exactly. And for anyone who likes to practice speaking, evenings are also a good time to practice saying sentences out loud. You can pick a few words or phrases you learned and practice saying them in sentences. For example, if you learned the word routine, you could say, "My new routine is to listen to English every night."
Yes, practicing speaking out loud helps a lot with pronunciation and fluency. And if you have a friend who is also learning English, you can try practicing together. You don't have to talk for hours, just a short chat about your day or something interesting you read or watched.
That's a great tip, Max. Talking to a friend, even for a few minutes, can make a big difference. And it's also a lot of fun. Practicing together can make learning feel less like studying and more like a shared activity.
Exactly, and even if you don't have someone to practice with, you can record yourself speaking and listen to it. This might feel strange at first, but it's a great way to hear your progress. You can hear what you're doing well and also notice things you want to improve.
That's a really smart idea, Max. Recording yourself can feel a little uncomfortable, but it's such a powerful way to see your progress. And it's also a good confidence booster because you'll see how much you're improving over time.
Right, learning English isn't just about sitting with a textbook. It's about making it part of your everyday life. By building these routines into your day, you're constantly exposing yourself to English, and that makes learning feel natural.
Exactly. And remember, everyone learns at their own pace. If you try something and it doesn't work, that's okay. Try another routine or change it up a little. The important thing is that you're making time for English each day in a way that works for you.
All right, let's keep going and talk about how you can take these routines to the next level. By now, we've covered routines for morning, day, and evening. But let's talk about a few more tips to keep you motivated and make sure that these routines really work for you in the long run. It's all about making English part of your daily life in a way that's interesting and fun.
Yes, and one great way to stay motivated is to set small goals. Learning a language is a big task, so it helps if you break it down into smaller steps. For example, maybe one week you want to focus on learning 5 new words, and the next week you want to practice using those words in sentences. Small goals are easier to reach, and each time you reach one, you'll feel more motivated to keep going.
Exactly, Emma, and if you reach a goal, don't forget to celebrate it, even in a small way. Maybe you can treat yourself to something nice or take a break to do something you enjoy. This way, learning English feels rewarding. It doesn't have to be all about studying hard, it can also be fun and fulfilling.
That's such good advice, Max. And another tip for keeping up with routines is to try learning with things that you genuinely like. If you enjoy sports, read about sports in English. If you like cooking, look up recipes in English. Connecting English with your personal interests makes learning feel less like a chore and more like something you enjoy.
Absolutely, and you can even try joining online groups or communities related to your interests. For example, if you like photography, there are groups where people talk about photography in English. This way, you're practicing English while talking about something you're excited about. It also gives you a chance to meet other people who share your interests and can motivate you to keep learning.
Yes, and if you want to go even further, you can find a language partner. This can be a native English speaker who wants to learn your language, or it can be another English learner. You can practice together by chatting once a week. It's a great way to get comfortable using English in real conversations.
Good idea, Emma. A language partner helps you learn new expressions and also lets you practice speaking and listening skills in a natural way. Plus, you can learn about each other's cultures, which makes it even more interesting.
Exactly. And remember, when you're speaking with someone else, it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are an important part of learning. So don't worry if you say something wrong. Each mistake helps you get better because you learn from it.
That's so true, and along with making mistakes, it's important to be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time, and it's okay if you don't see huge progress right away. Just keep following your routines and know that every little bit of practice is helping you improve.
Absolutely, Max. And if you feel like you're getting stuck or not making progress, try mixing up your routine. Instead of reading, try watching a video. If you're used to studying alone, try joining a group class or an online study group. Changing your routine a little can make learning feel fresh and exciting again.
Yes, that's a great idea, Emma, and let's talk about keeping a progress journal. This can be a small notebook where you write down things you learned or accomplished each day. For example, if you learned 5 new words or finished a podcast episode in English, write it down. Looking back at your progress can be very motivating because you can see how far you've come.
Oh, I love that idea. A progress journal is also a great way to remind yourself of things you want to review. Maybe there's a word or phrase you learned that you want to use more often. Writing it down will help you remember it and keep it in mind for future conversations.
Exactly, and it's also nice to look back and see all the little steps you've taken. It shows that learning English is a journey and each small step counts. Plus, writing about your progress in English is more practice for your writing skills.
And speaking of writing, let's not forget the power of visual aids. Some people find it very helpful to use things like flashcards or visual notes. You can make flashcards for new vocabulary or use sticky notes with English phrases around your home. It's a great way to remind yourself to practice English throughout the day.
Yes, flashcards can be a quick and fun way to review words, and putting English words around your room is helpful because you'll see them naturally every day. It's like giving yourself little reminders to keep practicing.
Another way to make learning more engaging is to try creative methods, like drawing or even acting out what you're learning. If you're learning new verbs, you can try acting them out. If you're learning words related to food, try cooking a recipe in English and follow the steps in English as much as possible.
That's a fantastic idea, Emma. Making learning hands-on helps you remember things better because you're not just reading or listening, you're experiencing the language. And if you have a friend or family member who speaks English, you can even practice together in fun ways, like cooking or playing a game in English.
Absolutely, learning is more memorable when it's interactive. And that brings me to another tip. Don't forget to use what you're learning in real situations whenever you can. For example, if you're at a restaurant with English menus, try reading and ordering in English. Or if you're traveling, look for chances to use English with other people.
Yes, real-life practice is one of the best ways to improve. When you use English outside of study time, you get to see how much you've learned and what you still want to work on. Plus, it's very rewarding to see yourself actually using English in real situations.
And one final tip, which I think is very important. Don't compare yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. It's okay if your friend or classmate seems to learn faster. Focus on your own journey and your own progress. The most important thing is that you're improving each day, even if it's just a little.
Yes, that's so true. Emma, language learning is personal, and it's all about your own growth. Celebrate every little step forward, and remember that each new word you learn, each sentence you write, and each video you watch is helping you get better.
Absolutely. So remember that these routines are just small steps to help you make English part of your daily life. You don't have to follow all of them. Pick the ones that work for you and make them part of your routine. Over time, you'll see how much you improve, and English will start to feel like a natural part of your life.
Well said, Emma, and with that, we're coming to the end of our podcast. We hope these tips inspire you to create routines that make learning English enjoyable and effective.
Yes, thanks so much for joining us today. Remember, learning English is a journey, and each day you're getting closer to fluency. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and enjoy the process.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this podcast. Share it with your friends and family who might also be learning English. We'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment and let us know which routine you'll try first.
Thank you all, and good luck with your English learning journey. We'll see you next time.
Yes, that's so true. Emma, language learning is personal, and it's all about your own growth. Celebrate every little step forward, and remember that each new word you learn, each sentence you write, and each video you watch is helping you get better.